Nice to be here. We're FluxBeam, so we've been kind of working on a variety of different kind of trading avenues and infrastructure protocols on Solana. You may or may not know us. For the most part, we're a team of engineers that have been focused over 5 years building on Solana. It's through various different verticals, mainly in the DeFi and infrastructure space, but we've touched in kind of pretty much everything else we can do on chain. And over these kind of 5 years, we've noticed that as we kind of scaled out Solana TPS, more and more issues starting to occur on the read layer. There's been a lot of focus in terms of kind of fired answer of the past year in terms of 1 million TPS on the right layer, but the read layer has kind of been left in the dark and just kind of hoping that it's going to keep up. So when they announced this last year, kind of all the red flags went off to us. And we know this read layer does not scale on the current Solana RPC stack. And we'll kind of go through why that doesn't at the moment. But we saw this as a real challenge. And then when Fogo came to us and said, hey, we want to achieve 1 million TPS, can you help us out? We thought, hey, what better way to kind of try out and see if we can actually achieve this by building on the new chain. So we took it upon ourselves over the past kind of 8 months to rebuild this entire RPC read layer from the beginning. If you don't know kind of what that is, that's a load of gibberish for the most part. Essentially what that is as all of those blocks are being built, like Austin said earlier, we need to then get that out to every single client we possibly can in the most efficient amount of time. This gets even worse when we look at Fogo and 40 millisecond block times. We really need to get that data out pretty much ASAP, or else you're going to end up with stale data. This is most bad in Solana, where we've got 400 milliseconds. That's more than enough time to kind of get everything going around. But the 40 milliseconds is kind of quite an interesting technical challenge. So when we look at these challenges, they kind of present themselves in a few ways. When we look at the current state of this, at the moment, the most common way of doing this for RPC providers is getting racks and racks full of RPC validators, and then basically load balancing across them and kind of hoping everything works. Now, for the most part, that has worked up until about 7,000 TPS. But then what you'll start to see is all of your calls will really start to slow down. And on a public network or on a public service, that even gets even worse. If you get a noisy neighbor and they're trying to cause their pump fund contract, game over. Most RPCs don't even respond to that call anymore. And then when we look at the actual data kind of scale of all of this at 40 millisecond block times and high TPS, that data, it gets exponentially larger. So where we're only at 450 terabytes on Solana of ledger data over 4 years, we kind of expect Fogo at high TPS to blow that out of the water within the next couple of years. So getting all of that archived and kind of read is a single challenge, but then getting all of that in a low latency environment that's going to support all the traders and apps on top of Fogo, it becomes even harder. It ends up that you've got about 20 milliseconds per block to read that data, write that data down to an archival node, and then distribute that out to your clients. And then if that wasn't bad enough, the existing app integration is a bit of a nightmare. The RPC layer was kind of built with lower TPS in mind, and was maybe a bit of an afterthought in kind of the Agave client. But we've got amazing amount of apps on Solana and kind of soon to be Fogo. So we really don't want to be coming in saying, hey, rip out your entire infrastructure, rebuild it, and kind of support a new protocol or a new compatibility. So ensuring that this is a full drop-in replacement kind of adds a real kind of issues around basically getting this done. So for the past kind of 8 months, we've been focused and just sitting on the kind of Fogo layer in testnet, trying to rebuild this to ensure that we can get all of that data out in an efficient manner, scale from anywhere from 20,000 TPS all the way up to 1 million TPS. This starts kind of the very bottom layer of where we've gone from the traditional monolith that you'll see with Solana, whereby it's just a single RPC stack, to basically a fully sharded parallel approach. So no matter what the data ingestion rates you need, we can basically scale out Flux RPC to support that. And even as block times come down, we can kind of support that as well and ensure a consistent real-time delivery of state across the network, no matter where you are. So we're fully distributed across the entire globe. So any public endpoints you hit are going to be within 5 milliseconds of your current apps. But we didn't stop there. The entire DApp approach at the moment is a bit backwards. Coming from Web 2, traditionally you'll have an app and a database server sitting right next to it. You have zero latency between the two. So whenever you're talking to it, you're basically having zero latency and getting through data immediately. Whereas in Solana, we like to do things the tricky way, call out every time for these RPC calls, or you have to stream in the data and then have a huge amount of kind of orchestration in the back end to able to kind of maintain that. So instead, what we've done is we built Lantern. This is a local, lightweight, app-focused RPC, which only streams the data your app absolutely needs, but allows you to have zero latency when it comes to serving your clients from the app layer. And this is all compressed and delivered in real time with a kind of low-level proprietary data protocol we've built that runs on top of Flux RPC. So rather than having to spend thousands on bandwidth costs, you're literally using absolute minutiae amounts of data to get the data state updates. And the results, I think, speak for themselves. Over testnet and our private kind of read mainnet, we've also managed to sustain a 1 million TPS write while ensuring that there's a consistent delivery, even under peak load, of all of that data to multiple clients. This scales horizontally with zero bottlenecks. It's fully elastic, so as demand goes up and down, our services can react to that in real time and provide consistent data delivery. Even better, we support the full existing RPC stack. So whether that's WebSockets, whether it's Yellowstone, Giza, webhooks, you name it, anything you have available to you on Helios or on Triton or any other main providers that have been built over the past 5 years, we've ported all of that tooling, not only into the Flux RPC ecosystem, but also into the local Lantern ecosystem. So if you want to just run on a public network over to our public services, you can. There should be no changes needed for a developer. But if you want an easy 20 to 30% performance increase just by cutting out the latency, you can also upgrade your entire stack onto Lantern with pretty much no changes as well. Lantern can adapt dynamically to your app. So all you need to do is give it a small bit of config saying what your app is, where it's pointed, and we do the rest. So for anyone coming into the ecosystem, it's no longer a kind of case of having to build up all of this large scale infrastructure to deal with the kind of fire stream or fire hose, we call it, of the Solana data. You only need to deal with the data your app specifically needs. And even better, this data is never stale and never lags and is always at the head state. So when we look at kind of DeFi traders, this is really, really important. It has been a massive issue over Solana for the past year or so. So yeah, we're happy to kind of fix all of this. However, when we look at kind of the Fogo testnet, we started off, I think we were one of the first ones to deploy. So it's all well and good having this really fast RPC provider, but if there's no apps, then it doesn't really help because no one's using it. We've been on Solana and we've seen the kind of build it and they will come approach. It doesn't seem to work too well unless you get a large amount of traction very early on. So what we've been deciding to do is port our entire ecosystem of FluxBeam over to Fogo and provide a two-way bridge across that to incentivize Solana traders to come over to Fogo, try it out, experience these low latency block times, and hopefully sell them on the Fogo idea. So we started off with FluxBeam AMM. This was kind of one of our initial DEX offerings on Solana. We used this to promote and build on the token 22 protocol and push the adoption on that side, which we've been largely successful with the likes of PayPal and StockX coming on board of the protocol. This is also being kind of battle tested for the past 3 years, audited multiple times, and integrated into pretty much the entirety of the Solana ecosystem. So very well trusted and known within the kind of dev apps. That's now on Fogo, but even faster. And I think the results are absolutely phenomenal when it comes to a trading perspective. It really does feel like you're using basically a native app. And it's more than a DEX. No one likes to code. No one wants to sit in a dark room for hours on end trying to build token deployments and stuff like this. So we've taken all that and put it into an easy-to-use UI. You get a full tooling suite, whether it's for token management, creation, airdrops, updates to your token, seeing how your token is doing. All of that can be seen and executed within Fogo sessions on a UI, multiple clicks, and you're good to go. But as we know, and as we can see from a lot of the partners here with us in Fogo today, it's not just us on the chain. And when it comes to aggregation, price means everything. So we've also ported over our full pro trading interface Infinity and our Infinity aggregator that is integrated into every single one of these lovely partners over here. So wherever you trade, this data will be present to you on Infinity and will always offer you the best price no matter what. Not only that, we provide all the standard pro trading tools, whether it's smart money movements, whether it's training tokens, new tokens, mean radars, anything like that is all baked in real time into Infinity. Not only that, but a big issue with a lot of these new chains when they come in, transparency is a big issue. No one can really read the Solana block explorer. So Fogo Block Explorer is going to be no different. So we built in RugCheck as a first-class integration into all of this. This does real-time kind of scan detection, which we'll talk about in a second. But on top of that, even if you're on, say, up a mountain, going for a hike, we've built in FluxBot Companion, which is a Telegram trading application that allows you to access all of the tooling you get from Infinity on an easy-to-use Telegram interface. And then for developers, a bit of a boring slide, but maybe useful for some here. We provide a full suite of FluxBeam data streams. So rather than sitting there and trying to integrate 20, 30 different protocols, dealing with all the nonsense of passing transactions, you can now access a really easy to use, simple data stream over WebSocket or HTTP APIs, which gives you human readable trader data, token data, and even the image metadata all in one go without having to do any kind of complex on-chain kind of understanding. This also includes kind of dynamic priority fees that we'll see on Solana, and all of this runs natively on Flux RPC for unmatched reliability. We will also be porting this directly into Lantern, so if you want even faster performance and have just direct access to all of this, you'll be able to do that all within your own local instance. And then I mentioned RugCheck earlier. We've also decided to bring the Raccoon over from Solana. This is one of the most highly integrated protocols on Solana and has become a trusted brand name across the ecosystem. What this does is it monitors in real time every trade, transfer, holder, you name it. Anything that happens on chain, RugCheck knows about it, will identify any scams or wash trading networks instantly. So this really helps when they're looking at kind of new chains. It ensures the safer trading out the box. There's not going to be a huge amount of rugs because RugCheck knows about it. And then from the network side, we have full network detection. So we can detect everything from wash trading to bot networks to insider groups. And then we can follow them all the way from SEX or any bridge they've come to. So this really helps when kind of in this fast-paced environment. This is going to ensure that traders can make the right choice very quickly. And a little sneak peek, we've been working very closely with one of our key partners. As I said earlier, build it and they will come. Might work, might not, but we like to try and kind of push people over. So we've built a bit of fun on Fogo. This is the standard launchpad that you'll be kind of knowing from, say, Punk Fun and all the others. With a bit of a twist, we can't go into too much details at the moment, but this will basically be a cross-train incentive to ensure that Solana traders will come out and try Fogo, give it a go, and hopefully we can sell them on the speed and the reliability of Fogo through this launchpad. Again, it's a multiple launchpad. It comes with all the standard creator fees and a one-click token launcher.